Today, I'm super excited because we're going to be learning Tailwind CSS by building a responsive website. And this is a framework for CSS, rapidly build modern websites without ever leaving your HTML. And this is something so cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder here. It's called Tailwind Project. I'm going to open it up in CMD. I'm going to go in code dot, the normal things that we do. And in here, we're going to open up our terminal using control and backtick. And over here, you could just make sure you have npm installed. If you just type in npm-v, or make sure you have node installed. Yes. So that's the thing I had to say. So if I say node -v, you could see that there's a version over here, and once you have one, then you could you're ready to go. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to go to the Tailwind website. So let me go here back to the Tailwind website and go to the docs. When I click on the docs, you can see getting started with Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS works by scanning all of your HTML files, JavaScript components, and any other templates for class names, generating the corresponding styles, and then writing them to a static CSS file. It's fast, flexible, and reliable with zero runtime. It's faster than normal CSS. And now if I have to go to the installation, I would go and you could see I could follow all the steps. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the framework guides and we're going to have a React application, and then we're going to use it with our React application. So we're going to use Vite, fast and modern development server and build tool, and we're going to click on that, install Tailwind CSS with Vite. So what we're going to do is first we're going to install the Vite project by clicking on this thing. So we're just going to copy this and we're going to go back to our project here, and I'm just gonna see that empty photo Tailwind project. We're gonna paste that, but one thing we have to do here is npm create Vite at latest, and then in the project section just go back here, and instead of my project you could say Tailwind, so one second, Tailwind CSS, Tailwind project, so Tailwind project, and just leave it as it is like that and press enter. Now it should install npm, and just press yes for this and you're good to go. There you go. It created that. You have to go and cd into it. So let's go and cd. We'll say cd and we'll say Tailwind project. And now we're inside the folder. So I'm just going to go CLS. And now I'm in a folder, which is Tailwind project. You see there's public source and all that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the project like what we did, and we're going to install this Tailwind CSS, post CSS, and auto prefixer. So just copy this and copy and paste it here. So let me just go here and paste it and press enter. Now you can see that it's going to install that as well. So over here, normally it would take some time, but it'll get installed. So you can see over here. Yeah. So we have Tailwind project, we have a public folder, and we have a source folder. We have the app.jsx, right? The main thing. And then we have, we're trying to install Tailwind CSS, post CSS, auto prefixer. So it's going to come over here after all of this is installed. Right now, you can see normally you have your index.html file. So you can see over here that it says Vite plus React. And then we have, this is the sample, and then we have root. You can see this ID root, and this is actually calling main.jsx. If you look at the main.jsx, it's calling the app, and then this is the app. So initially you would have the Vite logo, the React logo, and all that stuff. But let's see, is our installation done? No, it's still happening. So you can see post CSS auto prefixer is still being installed, but with some time it's going to be completed, and then we could move on to the next step. So just waiting until it's complete. It should be completed by some time. Come on, node modules and public. And if you look into the app.jsx, you can see that there's one thing that we had to look into. This is that click on the Vite and React logos to learn. So one thing that's so cool over here is that we have a state, and it's set to 0, and it's that button. So we have set count, and then we increment that count by 1 every time when you click on it, on click function. So it's amazing. Going back, perfect. We're done with the we're done with that step, and now we have to go to the next step. And that next step is, you have to do this. So I'm going to put in the doc over here and put this one over here. And we're going to go to the next doc, and just, put that over there on the side. Let's go to the next step, which is installing the npx Tailwind CSS configuration, right? Configuration files. So just paste that in and just, do that. And it should install, create these config files, which is tailwind.config.js and postcss.config.js. If you go into the directory, you'll find it, tailwind.config.js and postcss.config.js. Go and click on the tailwind.config.js, and you can see over here there's a content, right? So you could see over here that there's actually content over here, and then there's an empty list. You have to replace this with this thing. So we have to copy this and just paste it over here. I'm just gonna replace it here. I'm just gonna paste it like that. And you can see now, if I save it, I have export default and then content with the list as index.html and source and all these JavaScript, TypeScript and theme and then plugins. So that's done. After that, what we're gonna do is we go to the base, index.css. So this is gonna be in the source, index.css. And you see that the existing CSS is all this, right? Let me zoom this out a little. So you can see that the existing CSS is all of this. Just remove this existing one and just replace it with the CSS component, which is this. So these are the Tailwind directives to your CSS. So these are just directives, and I'm going to teach you what these mean actually. So the base, components, and utilities, just paste it there. And after that, you go to npm run and dev. So that's how, once you're done with that, you could now simply start your project. So if I go and say npm run dev, make sure I'm inside the Tailwind project folder, right? And once I do that, my front end should be running. I just randomly clicked something, but now you can see that this is running, and I could just click on this and you can see that it is running. So, the Tailwind CSS is confirmed. This I removed the index.css. That's why it's looking disorganized, but after this we could go on to the next step. So the next step over here is to go to the app.jsx and go to this part and replace all of this. So you can see this existing stuff, remove it, and let's say raf c. So now we have this. You can see right now, if I refresh this page, you'll see that there's nothing. Okay, the reason behind this could be that my server is off or something. Yep, npm. Oh, I have to go and cd cd Tailwind again, and then npm run dev again. I don't know how that closed. npm run dev. Okay, so this should refresh this. Okay, so we have nothing, blank. So over here, let's add something to it. We had our app.jsx completely removed and now added just a simple functional component. And in here, we're gonna add in a section tag. For this section tag, we're gonna have to add in some paragraph. So we're gonna have a p tag, and we're gonna say lorem. If I do this, add some lorem text, right? So I could just use format document with, and now this is going to be formatted. So let's view what we have right now. Pretty basic stuff, right? So now we're going to use Tailwind for this. So we're going to go into our section tag, and remember, I want the text height to be 100. To do this, there's some really cool cheat sheet, which is Tailwind cheat sheet. Just search it here, and you'll receive this one. And this Tailwind cheat sheet has all the components. Like suppose I want the height, right, of the text. So I'd say height. When I just type this in, you'll find the text height. So font size, height, sizing. And over here you can see we have 100 VH height. We just click on it, and then it's copied to our clipboard. We could go back and just paste it here. So like that. Now the thing is, to add the CSS, Tailwind class, you have to go in the class name and then put the 100 VH here. So once we do that, this would exist. Wait a second. So yeah. So I actually I have to click on the 100 VH because this is the CSS. I have to click on the Tailwind class. So now that is there. Go back, and 100 VH is almost the same thing as h-screen. All right. If I hover over it, you can see that it says 100 VH. The reason why I'm having this is that I have an extension which is called Tailwind IntelliSense. So Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Okay. Now this is a extension, not this one, but install. I think let me just go into the extensions that I have. All right. So let me just remove this one and should have it over here somewhere. Yeah. So it's Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Have this installed, and you'll have automatic recommendations to what you should add. Now, right now, let's suppose I want to add a background color. So I could go back to the cheat sheet, like over here. I don't need to learn anything, and I'll say I want a background color. So background BG color. Okay, it's actually background. So I have to say background hyphen color, just like in how we do it. You'll see that there's a background color. Click on this, and you can see I want a light green one. So we'll just scroll all the way to find something green. We'll click on this. Now it's copied, and I could go back to my Tailwind, and over here, let me just paste it. So background green 400. Okay, and now if I go back to the project, you'll see now it has a background color, right? Pretty cool. So what we want to do now is we're gonna go back here, and there's this paragraph. It's in the section, and we want to add some other classes. So we'll have the following: flex. We'll have items hyphen center. We'll have justify hyphen center. And then we'll have margin 12. And we'll have text hyphen center. And then we'll have the last one, which is text hyphen 3XL. If I save these Tailwind classes, now they're not, the format, you can see that it's just going forward, but right now you'll see that it's really organized now. You can see all the Tailwind is being applied. So yeah, so this is the Tailwind class, and you can see that by default, it's mobile first. And Tailwind is a mobile first breakpoint system. So you could see right now, this is in mobile device. And then you could see when it's expanding, the text is also appearing. But one thing that we have to consider is that the text and the border over here shouldn't have that much, it should have a gap with them, right? So we need some padding in it. So I could fix that up, but like I said, this is all mobile first design that we just added. So to add those, additional things, what we could do first, initially, that I would want to do one thing before, hopping over the additional things. So let's just go back and say, turn off our server. And we actually need to install one thing, which is npm install -d Prettier, and then we have Prettier -plugin, and then -tailwind CSS. Now, the reason why I'm installing this, and you'll see the difference right now. So in a moment, it will be installed. But now let's go and try to design this to a mobile first design. So let's go back here to the website, and you'll see over here for the responsive design, Tailwind provides us 5 breakpoints: the SM, MD, LG, XL, 2XL. So SM is 640 pixels and above. It has this CSS media query. So it says at media, min width 640 pixels and above. So all those devices that are in 640 pixels or above will have this SM breakpoint. And then there's this MD breakpoint for 768 pixels and above. So it's actually by default mobile first. And if I restrict it to 640, that means any device that has a minimum width of 640 pixels or above will have this kind of styling. And you can see it's applied over here. But Yeah, so these are all the styles, and you could see it's kind of opposite to normal CSS where we normally use max width for media query, but over here it's min width. So remember that. Over here, to add this, you can see that they have an image tag and then they have a class name. And now over here, you can see that by default, they have a width of 16. This is for mobile designs, but for medium devices, they have a width of 32, and for large devices, they have a width of 48. And now till the large devices till end, it will be 48. All right, so it would be width of 48 from large devices 1024 pixels to beyond. Okay, I hope you got that point. And from medium 768 pixels till 1024 will have 32 width, and that's how the image is going to be appearing. So that's actually what it means. Let's go back here, and it isn't installed. Now the reason why I got this is that this is going to allow us to have our Tailwind classes organized. Whenever we write them, it's going to have it in a conventional flow. Whenever I save it, so it's automatically going to do it for me without even me having to worry about what order I should place the classes. It's just for readability purposes. So now that we're done with this, we could go to the next part where we want to actually allow the padding thing. So by normal means, I said the padding will have 12. Now let me just put that in aside over here. Let me add the project, which is over here. Let's put that on the side and put this project over here. Let's bring that and put this. Okay, so one thing is npm run dev. Make sure the project is running as well, and after that we'll just close this. Now you can see that this is right now. If I go to inspect and console, and not console, but let me just see over here. Okay, so over here you can see that right now there's not that much, but let me just scroll down to see which width I'm talking about. I'm talking about the smallest width, which is actually 640 pixels for small devices. So let me just 640 pixels, 640. Okay, so you can see over here 640 pixels. This is for mobile devices. Now I want the padding when right now the padding is really nice, but when I want to when it's bigger and bigger, I want the padding to be more spaced out, right, for the text and the edge. So that's what we want to do. So for 640 pixels, we'll have it to padding up 12, and I think I already applied it. So let me go back here. Yes, the padding has already been applied, and if I remove this padding, you wouldn't see that. So if I do that and go back here, so now you can see that in 640 pixels and beyond, the padding is not there. And that's why I have actually applied this padding 12 over here, padding -12. And now this is for mobile devices. Now for medium devices, we'll have the padding to 614. And this is how we're going to do it. So the prefix, and then the colon, and then the padding. So padding 14 like this. Space again, let's have large devices and then the prefix, and we'll have the padding of 16. And then for extra large XL, we'll have the padding of 20. You can see that there is a difference in padding. So now that we have all of this done, you make sure it's just written properly. Yep. Now let's go back and see how it looks like. So back here, you can see now it should give better and better padding when I make the width bigger, and if I cross it out, it has a really nice width. So perfect job there. And let's just format document accordingly. All right, so now that we have done the padding and all, let's go to the next part where we could actually customize the customization for Tailwind. We go to the let's go back to the post CSS tailwind.config.js. Over here you can see that there's this file that we added, and then there's this theme, and then there's an extend. So if I go into this extend part, right, I could add my own custom styling or things. Right now you saw that in the style sheet that there's so many things provided by Tailwind CSS, right? But there are some things that might not be there, but like there's only these kind of colors. Like I want to add some other color myself. To add that, I could go in this extend and add that color for me. If I want to override the existing properties, I could just go and type in suppose colors, and this would override all the properties and just have the thing that I'm looking for. So suppose if I have Twitter color Twitter -blue, and then I give the color for Twitter, which is hashtag 1DA, and 1f2. Now, this is a problem because this is going to override our existing Tailwind classes. But if you don't want to override any of them and don't want to remove them, you could recommend it is to go inside the extend, and this is just going to add it like additionally, to the existing. So now to it, Twitter blue is there. I could just change this BG green to Twitter blue, and it will do it. So Twitter hyphen blue and save it. Now you could see that should populate it. And okay, so it doesn't exist right now. I'll go back here. So extend color Twitter blue, and then oh yeah, so we actually had to have this comma here, and it's actually not a you can't apply it like this. I'll fix it out just later on. Just 1 second. So right now, we normally have all of this, but yes, we have this Twitter blue, and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to bring up was the actual customizations in the index.css file. Over here, remember we had the @tailwind base, @tailwind components, and @tailwind utilities. But the thing is, if you want to, add a styling to all of your entire project, you could, use this asterisk, and you could say font family, and you could say I want Times New Roman font for everything, and then you could say Times secondary and serif if no other ones exist. So that's there, and this would apply everywhere. But if suppose you want to add something, these now the @tailwind base is basically the styling for regular HTML tags like h2 paragraph. @tailwind components are the components that are like gonna be like card or button. So what you custom buttons that you make, you can make it with that. Utilities are the utility classes that are provided by Tailwind, and these override everything. All right, so I'm going to show you a sample right now. Let's make our own component, Tailwind component. So we'll say @layer, and we have components. All right, and inside of here we make our card component, and I'm going to show you this example with our new Twitter blue color. So we have this card, and inside of here we have to provide some custom styling. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste some styling in here. We'll have display flex, align item center, justifies content center, width 300 pixels, height 100 pixels. And for the background color, what we're going to choose is we're going to go to the theme, and we're going to check the colors, and we'll say Twitter blue, which is like hyphen like this. So this is going to unlock that blue color, which was an existing here. And I believe if we had, let's have those colors dot Twitter hyphen blue. I don't know. No, it's not going to come like that. Perhaps there's something else that I'm missing. Yeah, so there's going to be something that I'm missing. Yeah, it's not applied like that. All right, just remove that. But remember that I added the theme of the color here. Now this card component I'm able to use this card component anywhere. So over here, since I added this in the @layer components, I could actually use it over here somewhere. So suppose let's create another paragraph, this section, and after this section we'll create another, let's suppose say .card component. Okay, so over here I'll say this is a card. Okay, now if I save this and go back, you'll see that on the bottom there's a card, right? That's pretty nice. Now you could actually add it inside the section. Now that card exists there, but yeah, just remove it there, just keep it like that. And you can see that the styling that had it for the card with the Twitter blue is being applied. That's amazing. Now, one other thing that I wanted to tell is that we could go back here and, not instead of, having display flex, align item center, and justify content center, which is traditional CSS, you could use the apply directive to add that manually. So suppose if I say add apply, and then I say add apply, and then I say flex for display flex, items hyphen center for the align items center, and then we'll say justify center for the content center. So just wait. If I do something like that, all right, and I remove these three, this actually does the same thing. It does the same thing. So it's the apply directive, flex item center and justify center, and it should work. So still works, although there's some kind of underlining, but it's gonna work. All right. So the next thing that I wanted to showcase was that we could override Tailwind component. Suppose I'm using the card component, which has a background color of this, right? But if I give a card BG color of, let's suppose, go back to the documentation here, and let me just give it to, let's suppose, yellow. Copy this, and I'll have it pasted here. Now, actually, what's going to happen is that the card has, this color, Twitter blue, but I gave a, custom Tailwind one. I mean, a real Tailwind one, a traditional one. These are the custom ones that I added myself. So what happens is that these @utilities will override all the components when you create over here. So I'm only going to see yellow instead. So going back to the project, you'll see yellow. So now we're going to look at responsive design, and we could see that Tailwind provides 5 different breakpoint prefixes. This is SM, MD, LG, XL, and 2XL, and you could see that their minimum widths are these, and you could see that they're applied using 640. Now, the thing I wanted to say here is a correction, is that when width of 16 is applied, that means it's going to be the default width, okay, no matter what. And if you provide something else, then it's going to override it. So right now, by default, it's 16 overall. And if you say MD prefixed with a width of 32, that means whenever there's a medium device which has a 768 pixels or higher, then this will be applied. And if then you automatically add an LG width, that means whenever there's a 1024 pixel device or higher, then the width would be 48. All right. So then by default, it's width of 16. And that's how it's going to be applied. Let's go back to our app.jsx file, and you could see over here I added some extra stuff here. Now what I did is I removed the old code, and now we're going here in the return, and in here we have a section tag, and inside the section tag we have a div, and we have another div. All right, and inside the first div we have an image. An image, we got a source, we got a free pick from freepick.com, we got the class name, and I'm going to show you what these all mean. Just wait and just make sure that you understand what's happening. And then there's a separate div right after the image div, and that is a supporting div which has a headline and has some styling as well, and then there's a paragraph. All right, so the one thing that I did here is that the class name here as this stuff. The reason why I use grid and gap 8 is that the image has to be in a grid format. So let me just show you that what it means actually. So just a second. All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna run the code. So npm run dev, and you can see over here. Right now there's an image, and then there's a headline, and then there's some paragraph. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into inspect. All right, so we're going to go to inspect, and we're going to go to this, which is over here. And you can see over here, this is going to tell us which width are we talking about. Now, let's look at this home mobile device width. And you can see now the paragraph and the text are on bottom each other, 640 pixels. And you can see when I trigger that, it's like this. After that, once it's done, we want it to be over here. You can see that this is being applied somewhere, and I'll show you where it's happening. So grid gap 8, this means that there's actually a gap between the headline and the picture. All right, you see that, right? There's a headline and a picture gap. That's the class over there. Now over here we have, for medium devices, we have a grid of calls to. This is the only styling that's being applied. That means whenever there's a medium size, whenever 768 hits, you'll have it in two things. Like you could see over here. Whenever 768 hits, right now it's about to hit. There you go. 768 hit, and you can see once it was done, it's applied to two different, columns like that, and then it's going to remain throughout entirely until I give some other, thing that overrides it. But right now, for now, it's okay. Like grids calls to, MD device item center, and MD text left. Now this is just going to allow the items to be centered, and then the text to be left. All right, and for that purpose, now you can see that in medium devices, there's text is centered, and also it's aligned left. Perfect. Now let's add a breakpoint, which is actually called a range breakpoint. All right. So that's actually going to be from two. We're going to use two different prefixes, and we're going to say from small to large. All right. From small to large. So small to max -XL. All right. So we're going to say from small to max. From small to max XL, we want the background color of the section, right? The BG. We want the BG to be blue 50. Okay, so now if I apply this, you'll see that this is going to hit from small devices to the large devices. And after that, in the XL devices, 1080 pixels. After that, it's going to be gone. So, so you can see over here, 1024, sorry. And XL is 1080. So I gave XL, right? So 1080 till 1280, sorry, 1280 pixels. After that, it's going to be no more. So right now you can see that it's going to hit, and you can see this lightish blue background, and you can see it till 1255. It's still existing. If I cross this out, it's going to be removed when it's in a complete desktop view. But right now you can see that everything seems okay, and everything seems functional. I'll go back here into the section. We have a class name, and we have a div, and then we have all that. And now let's look at the customization part. If we go to the index.css, we had this card, remember, that we did before. In here, we have in the tailwind.config.js, we could actually customize our prefixes. All right, so we have, remember this default color that we created and we put into extend. If you want to actually remove your existing prefixes, you could use the screens keyword, and then you could have the, suppose if you want to add a new prefix, let's say 3XL, and that applies to 1680 pixels and beyond. So this is going to be actually, applied. Now it's going to be before the extend. So you can see over here I have an issue because I don't have a comma. But if I actually applied this before the extend, it's going to override all the existing prefixes, and then it's going to use that. But if I just add it within here, so like this, that means now 3XL is now a new custom prefix that I created, and I could reuse it. So I could actually reuse it in our app. So like suppose if I have 3XL, I could just use it over here. 3XL, it's existing, right? It says over here 1680 pixels, and then you could add your BG color or whatever styling you want. And this is the Tailwind again applied, and you can see now this is the 1680 because I'm on the monitor, an ultra wide monitor. That's why it's being applied here. But when I'm gonna scroll down, it's not gonna be existing anymore. But yeah, it's low background, and then right now there's no, and then in ultra wide you'll see that it's being applied. Amazing, super awesome, and super cool. So 3XL means how much pixels, and now I just came to realize that my monitor is really big. 1680 pixels. For laptops, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And then, we could add additional things. We could add a screen here, and we could have colors, and, you could add more default things, or you could just update your existing, actually your existing prefixes as well. So remember the SM prefix. Suppose you want to just change the SM to not whatever it's providing. So if you look at the documentation, it's 640 pixels. Suppose you want the SM to be started from 700 pixels, you could do that as well. It's not a big issue like that. Or you could just name that as tablet. All right, you could just change it as tablet, and then it's going to be applied. So that's customization here. I'm going to actually leave this up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit this on a GitHub repo where you could see it.